Hi, I'm Laura Bennett, and for this project I'm going to discuss the pros and cons of school suspension. And I chose this to talk about because I was appalled at what I read and shocked when they were talking about the difference in school suspension and out of school suspension. I understand that rules are made to be followed, but some of the punishment students get just don't fit the crime. To suspend or even arrest a student for violating a dress code or being late for class is absolutely crazy to me. I can see suspending or even arresting a student as young as 10 if he brought a gun or drugs to school. Schools are supposed to be a safe place for all students. Most of the people that are for school suspension are people that believe it makes school safer, that it deters bad behavior, and that if the disruptive students aren't suspended, it's going to have a negative impact for the students who are at school who want to learn. Those who are against it believe that suspensions are not fair, that when the kids are suspended, we're just pushing the students who are in need of support and assistance out of the school, and that it doesn't deter the bad behavior. So in-school suspension is the first one I'm going to talk about. In-school suspension is an in-house approach punishment by having students who committed infractions stay in a designated room to work independently on their schoolwork. The pros are that they are isolated. They've been removed from whatever situation got them in trouble in the first place. They remain at school, so they're not out and about doing Lord knows what. And they can work on assignments so that they don't get behind. One of the cons is, what if that student doesn't receive the work? Say, for instance, the teacher who normally does in-school suspensions has a family emergency, or the teacher who is supposed to get that students work together had a family emergency and didn't get his work ready. Is someone going to be able to get work ready for him? Or if that in-school suspension teacher isn't there and there's a substitute, if that child has questions, will they be answered correctly? Or is that teacher or parent filling in? Is that a body? What if the work's done incorrectly? A child spends all day trying to do their work, only to come find out it's done wrong. So if they're suspended, say, for 3 days, the next day, do they have to spend all that day making up that work? Or correcting that work, I should say? And then day 3 will be day 2 work? What about day 3 work? It just seems crazy. So then we have out-of-school suspension. And out-of-school suspension requires the student that committed an infraction leave school and remain home for 1 to 10 days. The only pro I can think of is they're removed from the situation. The cons is that they miss assignments. And like I've said before, I was in a classroom several years ago. It was a little bitty school called Miss Selma's for 2-year-old through 6th grade. I don't recall any student ever getting suspended. But I don't understand why a student wouldn't get their work. I mean, if the infraction was so bad they had to be removed from the situation immediately, yes. But then why? I mean, with email and technology the way it is, I just think they should get their work. The other con is that student doesn't take responsibility for their actions. So if they're forced to stay home for a few days and the parents aren't able to stay home for that duration, which I'm sure there are a lot out there, but then the parents can't stay home and then they don't have anybody else to help watch that child. How do we know that student's being punished? I mean, how do we know that they aren't just out having a good old time while mom and dad are at work, doing whatever they want to? So overall, I think there's a lot of work that needs to be done when it comes to infractions and punishments. I also believe that This is why it's so important for teachers to get to know their students inside and out. They need to make a point to incorporate all cultures of their students in the curriculum. As teachers, we need to make our students understand that they can learn, because when they're eager to learn, learning comes a lot easier. We need to create a safe haven where students open up and talk about what's going on and aren't ridiculed for it. Thank you.